Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 91.1 WRMU. It is Streak Week as the Purple Raiders get ready to take on the Blue Streaks of John Carroll. But beforehand, we're talking to the men up front, the guys in the trenches. We're looking at Elijah Berry, Adam Mihoci, as well as Michael Vidal. Guys, how are we doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing great, guys. So let's look at the first thing off the questions. This season, you've been a part of an OAC top defense, only allowing a combined total of 73 points through 9 games. You guys are the front line of defense. So, Elijah, let's start with you. How has the defense been so successful this season?
I just think we've really been coming together as a team, and everybody's just doing their job, and they're doing it extremely well. Obviously, I think everything starts up front with us. But, I mean, behind us, we have 2 really great linebackers in Charlie and Danny, and then Groves, and then you got Austin White and Trevor Cox, and then you have Lou Berry and Gabe Brown out there playing corner. But and then Colin Crenshaw, he's depending on the game plan and then out the starting lineup. But you just got a lot of players who have gained experience, and I mean, we're all doing our job extremely well, and I think that's really what's going on.
Adam, for you, what has made this defense so successful?
Yeah, Elijah mentioned it earlier. The experience, I think, from last year, we have most of our defense back this year, and the chemistry we have is obvious, and also selflessness on the defense. We all know our jobs individually. We all are focused on our job. We're not trying to do too much. We're not trying to do each other's jobs, and I think that's been the reason we've been successful.
And Mike, for you?
I think it's just a confidence thing, really. Last year, in the last game, defense came out. We kept them to 14 points. We kept a lot of teams down what their season average was, whether it be 40 points or 30 points. And I think coming back this year, we got guys with more experience, more confidence in their abilities and what they can do every Saturday.
So for Michael, for you, you're named team captain in the 2016 season. You continue to lead this team. What did that honor mean for you?
Oh, that's the biggest honor I've ever had in my life, honestly. Whether it be All-American, first OAC, all those are nice honors, but being called team captain on this team is something special. Guys on this team chose me over other people, and I thank them for that because getting first team All-American and All-OAC, those type of accolades comes from coaches that don't really know you personally, and having these guys know me personally on and off the field and chose me as captain is just a great honor.
And Adam, for you, you transferred here to Mount Union last year from California University in Pennsylvania. Discuss the transition that you had to make and what challenges did you face on the field?
Yeah, well, obviously coming somewhere new, the biggest challenge is meeting new people and making new friends. Luckily, I was roomed with Alex Latham, our kicker, who's in the same boat as me, being a transfer and a new kid at Mount Union. So that made it a little easier. And as far as the on-field challenges I faced, learning a new defense, playing with new players, and being coached by new coaches. And with that being said, the technique and stuff was a little different here as to what I was used to at my previous school.
Can I tell a story real quick?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
When he first transferred and we were scrimmaging W&J, we were out in Pennsylvania actually, and all throughout camp, me and Adam we really hadn't spoken much at all. So I mean, I knew of him, I recognized his face, but I didn't know his name yet. So we got out there and we're scrimmaging, and I don't know if you guys have ever been to the W&J scrimmage, but they're an up-tempo team, and I mean, at the scrimmage, the refs kind of just let them go at an even faster pace than it would be in the game. So, the bullets are flying, they're going as fast as they possibly can, and I didn't get the call, or Adam didn't get the call, whatever was going on, and I look over to my right, and I see him, and I'm just sitting there like, what is this kid's name? Like, what is his name? And I started like waving my hands at him, like, hey, trying to get his attention. And yeah, that was probably the most embarrassing part for me personally of his transition to being there.
The funniest part is that he comes over to the sideline, he looks at me, it's like, what's this guy's name? And I'm like, I think it's Alex or Adam or something. And then some guy passed by and says him like, oh, that guy, the new kid.
But now you guys are well acquainted. You guys all know your names now.
Definitely.
So, Elijah, for you, it is without question that this team had a significant amount of growing room after a wild 2016 season. You guys just talked about it. I mean, with Adam coming in, this team was pretty much new. I mean, there was a lot of learning that you guys had to do. So, Elijah, for you, what was an aspect of your game that you had to improve coming into the 2017 season?
For me, I think it's just being more consistent. I think it starts in practice with me and just coming into practice every day with the right attitude and effort and just saying, today's an opportunity for me to get better. And I mean, yeah, when you're going against teams that aren't as good, who have players who aren't as good as you, yeah, you might be able to get away with slacking off during that week of practice. But my mindset this year is just that every practice that I do, that we have, it's setting me up for week 14, 13, 13, 14, 15. And just the habits that I practice today and tomorrow and in the early weeks are the habits that I'm going to carry over. And so I just try to practice getting into a good stance and, I mean, really focusing on my key and using great technique as far as shooting my hands and staying in my gap. And then after the ball's thrown, I try to do like a 5-yard jog or whatever else after the play, just so I can get into the habit of running after the ball. And I just think little subtleties like that, they carry over into the game, and they can make a big difference,
And, we talk about the big difference for you guys. This season, you've been, you've seen your fair share of standout running backs. However, through the season, the defense has an incredible run defense for you guys. Looking at the stats, only allowing 66 rushing yards per game, which is just absolutely an incredible stat to look at. As I mentioned, an OAC top defense. So, Mike, let's start with you on this one. How have you guys been so successful stopping the run?
I think it's just the way our defense is set up. First day of camp, the coaches come in and they tell us, we're going to stop the run first and foremost and make teams have to pass the ball on second and long, third and long, so they can become more one-dimensional. And guys on our front seven know that. And we take pride in that, not allowing even a rushing touchdown this season. So that's one of the big emphasis we put on for every game, and then worry about the pass later on.
Adam, for you.
Yeah, and I'm going to touch on it again. It's just everyone knowing their job and doing their job and not trying to do too much. Like, for us up front, we know our main job is to take up blocks and to free up our linebackers, and, we're okay with that. So I think that's where that success comes.
And Elijah, for you.
Honestly, I think it really starts with Adam because, a lot of blocking schemes, it starts with the center. And, I mean, he's probably directing traffic just as much as the quarterback is, and maybe even more. And, I mean, when you have somebody that's, over you all game, and they're just pounding you and pounding you and pounding you, and, it wears on you whether people want to admit it or not. And then I think it just goes on from there. And, I mean, Vidal and I do our jobs, and then our linebackers get to fly around and make plays, and our outside linebackers and safeties also get to come in and make plays. Also the DBs. Shout out Gabe and Lou.
So, we look at the whole starting defensive line for you guys. Mike, let's start with you on this one. We talk about how, all these guys find Mount Union, especially you're from Florida. How did you find Mount Union?
Through a job, college fair that they had down in South Florida. My coach, what they did was they had coaches come in and show their players highlight tape of who they think would fit well in that school. And he went there Thursday, came back Friday morning, and he went to me and he said, "Oh, Mount Union, is interested." And I'm asking myself, what's Mount Union? Down in Miami is not a known thing unless you're a football junkie. But I went to college fair, got in there. They showed me all the rings, and they said, "You want to, win 4 of these rings?" And I'm like, "All right, that's a pretty big selling point." And I came up here for a visit. I liked the coaching staff. I liked the attitude that they had. And Coach VK came to me and said, "You're not going to be a starter instantly. We're not going to give you a spot. You have to earn it." And I loved that attitude and chose to come to Mount Union.
And, Elijah, for you, you come from the Columbus area. How did you find Mount Union?
I found Mount Union because my coaches, Coach Carroll Johnson and Coach Schaefer, they were really big fans of Mount Union, and they were adamant about it. And Coach Woj was my recruiter, and he came down to Dublin, Scioto one day, and he got to talking to me, and then I came up for my visit. And like Michael just said, I really just fell in love with the culture and just the attitude and just 15-0. And because, I mean, my high school, we we weren't a bad team, but we didn't compete for a state championship and those types of things. But here it's a national championship or bust, and I mean, people dream of that, and that's not always everybody's reality, and I wouldn't want to have it any other way.
And Adam, we already discussed earlier, come from California University. What made you come here to Mount Union?
Well, Mount Union actually recruited me out of high school, so they were a school that I was very interested in. I took a couple visits here, and I built a pretty strong relationship with Coach Kappas, who was my recruiter. And, I ultimately ended up going to Cal U. But when I decided I wanted to transfer, Mount Union was the first school that came to mind. And I had my high school coach get back in contact with Coach Kappas, and, he welcomed me with open arms, and that's how I ended up here. So I'm glad I did.
Awesome, guys. And you guys have come here and really made an impact on that defensive line. So, Mike and Elijah, you're the guys that make up the ends on the line. Pass rushing and containing is your specialties. Mike, let's start with you on this one. Describe the techniques that you have at that defensive end position.
Before the technique, you really have to have an attitude to try and get to the quarterback and try and make a play each and every down, really. As far as the technique goes, it's just being the first man off the ball, being violent with your hands, and making sure you have the right angles towards the quarterback to make sure it doesn't escape the pocket or do anything extra.
And Elijah, for you.
Again, I think it really starts with Adam because, they know that they can't single block him, and so they end up having to double team him or triple team him in certain instances, and that just really gives me or Vidal a one-on-one about, I'd say, 75-80% of the time, and I'm going to bet on one of us winning a one-on-one any day of the week. So, but as far as our technique, like you said, I think it's a great get-off. I think playing the defensive line really starts with a great get-off in your attitude, and just that for, 60, 70 plays, this guy's just not going to block me. He's in my world, and I'm just going to control everything he does.
And so, Adam, you get a lot of praise at that nose tackle position. You're the one that's taking up the space in the double teams. You're really getting hard work down in the trenches. Describe your technique at that nose tackle position.
Yeah, well, like they said, it's about attitude. It's a physical position, so you have to be willing to do it, and you have to love to do it, and I definitely do. So, I just try to get off the ball fast and hard, get my hands on the center as soon as I can, and, I'm always expecting that guard to come down on me, so, I'm usually ready for that. But, as far as the technique for that, I'll, like I said, get hands on the center, don't let him get up to the linebacker and try to split that double team, throw my hip in between them, and stay square to line of scrimmage.
Michael, last season, a career best for you, 38 tackles and 12.5 sacks. That was team leading for you, as well as 16 tackles for a loss. What were your thoughts on your play last season, and is there anything that you had to change coming into this 2017 season?
Last season, honestly, if you had asked me how I was doing, I think I was pretty bad. It wasn't to me. I'm just my own biggest critic, and I don't think that I had a well enough year that I had last year. I wasn't consistent in my rush. A lot of those sacks came late in games. And I thought I could be more consistent coming into this year. I just wanted to apply more pressures to QBs, try and get more QB hits, and just be more consistent with my technique throughout the game instead of just waiting for a team to do something before I get to getting sacks and pressures.
And Michael and Elijah, both of you got to play alongside with Tom Lally and Mike Ferda, both All-Americans. And Elijah, let's start with you on this one. What was it like playing with those guys, and did you have any takeaways playing with them?
Honestly, I don't say this lightly, but it was almost inspirational because, as a competitor, you want to be better than people, but at the same time, I think that you have to be able to step back and say, wow, he or she, or just depending on your situation, he or she is doing their job and they're doing it extremely well. And I would almost try to mimic everything that they did as far as their work habits and the techniques that they use in games. And it really was something to marvel at. Tom Lally, I think he was an outstanding player, awesome player, somebody I want to model. I try to model my game after. And then Mike Ferda, he was kind of the sleeper, if you will. He got slept on that season. He finished with 14.5 sacks, I'm pretty sure. And that's no number to turn your nose up at. So yeah, getting to watch them playing, being able to play alongside them, Tom got double teamed a lot, and I got to get in there and get a sack or get some pressure on the quarterback every once in a while. But just getting to see them practice and playing with them was really cool. It was a great experience because, like I said, you just get to you got to see two people who are performing extremely well and performing at a high level. And it just, like I said, as a competitor, it's just like it was motivational, and it still motivates me to this day to want to be better than them and continue on, what they instilled in us.
Yeah, I mean, we look at Tom Lally and Mike Ferda. They were really the 1-2 punch on the end, on the rush, and now we have both, Mike Vidal and Elijah Berry on that. And Mike, for you, was there any takeaways that you had, playing with guys like Ferda and Lally?
Oh, there was huge takeaways. Me and Tom, coming in my freshman year, that freshman spring, I worked out with Tom throughout that off season, and going into the season, just seeing how he worked and his attitude is kind of just how I am now. The reason why I am, or how confident I am today, and Elijah can say the same thing, is because of what those guys did and what their attitude to every game, every practice, every lift was. And I try to mimic that, and definitely his technique was just amazing, just trying to learn from that.
So, guys, it's that time. Let's look at the matchup for today versus John Carroll. This is a revenge game for you guys after last season, a 31-28 loss last season. We're really getting a lot of, looks on Twitter and stuff. We see Cecil Shorts. They want, you guys to drop 100 on the Blue Streaks. So, Adam, let's start with you. What are your guys' keys to victory over the Blue Streaks coming up this Saturday?
Yeah, well, just like every other week, starts with stopping the run, making them one-dimensional, and looking at the matchup up front. We definitely feel like we'll be able to do that and, get some pressure on the quarterback and all that stuff. And, obviously they're going to have some athletes, and it'll be a tough game, being a rivalry game, being at their place. But, yeah, I think we're ready for this week.
Mike, for you?
Doing what we've been doing all season, doing it better, even if that's possible for us to do, and just continue to work on the success we've had the past 9 weeks and just get better from this. We're definitely not looking over them. This was a game we lost last year, and we're definitely hungry to get that W.
And Elijah, for you?
I agree with what they said. It's a matter of coming out and just doing your job and doing it very well each and every play. And I'm just ready to play from Saturday. It's been a long 11 months. I'm ready to play.
So this is the regular season finale. You guys will head in the NCAA Playoffs for the 26th straight time after clinching the OAC last week against Muskingum. What will it take for the Purple Raiders to get back to the Stag Bowl and be national champions? Mike, we'll start with you on that one.
The makeup of this team is about the same as the makeup from the 2015 team. And for us, it's just getting better. Even after 9-10 weeks, you still have to find a way to get better and be the biggest critic of yourself and demand more of yourself once you get into the playoffs. Because it will be tougher teams that have all-conference players, teams that have players that you're not used to seeing in the regular season.
Elijah, for you? I
think it's just a matter of getting better and staying healthy, honestly. As long as we continue to improve and we stay healthy, I like our chances. And you just cannot grow complacent because, like Mike said, the competition, it's only up from here. It really is. And, the moment you get comfortable and say, oh, we're playing so-and-so this week, they don't play anybody during the regular season, that's the team that you're going to lose against. And so I think it's a matter of staying hungry, staying healthy, and just continue to progress as a team.
Adam, for you?
Yeah, I think it starts with practice. I think that makes being in the playoffs makes practice that more important. You have to be willing to go even harder, especially come playoff time, and it's cold outside, and you might be a little sore and all that stuff, but you have to work through that, stay focused, and get ready for these playoff games.
So guys, take me through your game day routines. All players have them. Adam, what gets you ready for a game?
Well, my parents come to all the games, so they'll set up a little tailgate, and I'll go over there and talk to them for a little bit before heading to the locker room, and then just throw my headphones in, get taped up, stretch out on my own. That's really it. Just stay focused and think about what I have to do for that game.
Elijah, for you.
So we, as a team, we wake up and we'll come in and we'll watch a little bit of film, and then we'll come together and we'll take a walk around the chapel and go into the caf and we'll eat there. What I usually do is I go home and I make myself trash eggs and potatoes. I don't know if you know what that is. It's eggs, potatoes, ham. I put bell pepper and cheese in there. And then I take my dog out for a walk. And I might call one of my friends on FaceTime or something like that, and I just try to stay relaxed. And then when we get to the field, we go out and we do some defensive line drills. Just get your muscles ready and just your eyes ready and just reacting to things. And then I go back in the locker room and listen to some music. I really just try to stay relaxed and try not to get too uptight. I just try to keep my muscles loose and stay focused on the task at hand.
Mike, for you, your game day prep.
It's about the same. Going to film, breakfast, all that stuff. I'll go back to my room and sleep for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, and then I'll wake up, blast some music, and up in Diddy, Nas, Tupac, whatever, to get me in the mood for the game. Shower, shave. My mindset is just, if you look good, feel good, play good type of thing. I'll get all my stuff on, then I'll do the same before a game. I've been doing it this season, just taking a lap around the field, just kind of visualizing where I'm going to make the play. And typically the other team is over there pregame, and it's kind of like an intimidation thing in a way, just letting them see who I am and stuff like that. And I'll go with Elijah and go through our D-line walkthrough, stuff like that.
All right, guys, last question for you guys. This one's coming from Justin Hill and Jared Ruth. Told me to ask you guys.
Group on the team.
Exactly. The question going, what is the most skilled position here for the Purple Raiders?
Listen, man, I love those guys. Those guys are good to be around. Those guys are great players, honestly. And they'll both be back next year, which is scary for other teams. But listen, if we felt like stopping an offensive play, we could do it anytime we felt like it. So
Same thing, Adam?
I agree. Yep. Nothing more to say.
Can our coaches be an option?
Really? Bring the coaches in.
Yeah. I think our coaches are a great part of all position group success. Yeah.
So, Streak Week, as Purple Raiders get ready to take on the Blue Streaks. Thank you so much to Elijah Berry, Adam Mihoci, and Michael Vidal as they get set to take on John Carroll and avenge that 31-28 loss from last season. Keep it locked in here to 91.1 WRMU. We will have coverage from Don Shula Stadium in